pretended to be somebody that I thought you guys wanted me to be, until I realized who I really am. A new era begins here, and this is my time. I am the Sven D. What's good, YouTube? It is your boy Sven D bringing you Subscriber Sunday episode 3. Now, for those of you that may be new faces that aren't too sure about what Subscriber Sunday is, it is basically a show I have every Sunday where you guys can send me questions throughout the week and I will answer them. These questions can be anything. Personal questions, YouTube related, gaming related. You can ask me, I don't know, who I think is going to win the Super Bowl next year. Whatever questions you send will be answered. Before I get started though, a couple of things. For one, I want to kind of welcome all the new faces to my channel. I really appreciate the support everybody's shown me, and I really appreciate everybody that showed up to my podcast. We had a really good turnout. I know Beast won a Dazzle DVC 100 for myself, and I'm really happy to to be able to help somebody out like that. So big props to Beast for winning that. Hopefully, man, you put it to good use and kind of give your channel a little kickstart. Now, one other thing before we get into the questions. I know a lot of people were asking me for my PSN ID, and my friends list has been full for like the last 4 or 5 months, so I did make a new PSN account. You can find the name for that account in the description. It has 0 friends as of right now, so everybody that wants to play can. I'm probably going to be using that account a lot for the most part. So I would say even if you are on my regular PSN account, if you're one of my subscribers or somebody that I play with that I met on YouTube, I'd recommend that you add this account. The account's in the description. It's just theeSvenD, and there's no dash between Sven and D, but you can find that in the description. I will be accepting any and all friend requests. So that's that. Let's hop into the questions. Now, the first question I'm going to be answering is from Mr. Rockberg Sweet, and his question is, what is your favorite video game of all time? Now let's take a moment of silence so I can actually think about this. Favorite video game of all time? Well, it's really hard to choose. Of all time, I went through a big kick on Sega Genesis, and I definitely don't want to say a favorite video game for that system because I played a lot of them, a lot of games. Really, when I got into PlayStation, I was pretty big into Twisted Metal at first. The biggest fad I've probably had throughout my gaming, quote-unquote career has probably been Madden. Anywhere from Madden 97 to Madden 2011. I've owned every game. I used to play competitively. It's pretty sad because I actually was very close to getting into a $50,000 tournament in Las Vegas on 2 different occasions. They had the regional qualifying tournaments right around where I live, and both years the guy that I lost to had made it to the finals, and the first year that I lost to him, he actually won the $50,000. And the sad, even worse than that, is both times, the first time I lost to him by 9 points and the second time was by 3 points, so I was pretty close. I almost would have to say Madden. Not any particular Madden, but Madden is definitely probably the game that I've been most involved with of all time. Some notable mentions would definitely be Battlefield. You can't leave out Call of Duty. Assassin's Creed. I know not a lot of people are into that, but I'd say for a story-based game, Assassin's Creed definitely would be one of my favorites. It's hard. There's a lot of great games out there, but I'm sure in October it's probably going to be Battlefield 3. But that is the question from Mr. Rockberg Sweet himself. Now the next one is from Mr. 2% Milk, and Mr. 2% Milk is asking, are you in a band or do you play an instrument? Well, sadly, I've never been in a band and I've never played an instrument. I do love music, I do appreciate music, but I've never been involved with that. Even in high school, when they had high school band and stuff like that, never got into it. Me and my friends never really got together and you know, start our own band or anything like that. You know, Bunce, man, I'm sure some of you guys remember him from the live stream or from some of my videos. He's a personal friend of mine that I've known throughout my life, and you know, we always used to screw around. He's one of the best musicians I've ever met or heard in my life, and I'm saying ever, whether it be on the radio, in person, on MTV, I don't know, on the, you know, on a CD. That guy has a lot of talent. You know, we used to screw around. I used to mess around on the drums and stuff. I would say if I were to play an instrument, it probably would be the drums. I don't know why. I just had a lot of fun. I never got good at it, but it was a lot of fun trying to learn how to play them and just kind of screwing around. And the next one we have is Big Boy Cam, and he asks, what was your first console? Well, for my generation, I think it'd be pretty pretty unanimous that the first console for most of us was the Nintendo. Yeah, just the Nintendo. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System. No, not the Super Nintendo, just the regular Nintendo, the NES. You know, I grew up playing that. The first system I got really big into gaming with, however, was probably, no, it wasn't probably, it was the Sega Genesis. That thing, I used to play, I probably put more time into Sega than I have in any console throughout my life. You know, whether it be Sonic the Hedgehog, Earthworm Jim, what was it, Toe Jam and Earl, like the list goes on and on. I remember playing Jurassic Park, Rock and Roll Racing, the old football games. I've played so many different Sega Genesis games, it's not even real. I was even one of those fanboys that went out and got the Sega CD. I never, thankfully, wasted my money on the Sega 32X, which was supposed to basically be, you know, high-definition Sega Genesis games. I never wasted my money on that. That was a pretty big fail, but, you know, the Sega Genesis was definitely, I would say, the first console I got really big into gaming on, but the first one I ever played on was the Nintendo. I've owned the Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Nintendo Wii, Sega CD, you know, the list goes on. Even little things like the Game Boy Color. You know, I used to have the one thing, let me think, it's really gonna bug me. It was the handheld Sega Genesis. If you guys know what I'm talking about, leave it in the comments below because I can't think of the name of it, but it was like the handheld Sega. That was a lot of fun. I used to play that for hours. But that was Big Boy Cam's question, and the last one I'm going to be answering today is Distortion QS, and he has a pretty simple question, and his is why PlayStation? Now this is pretty easy to answer for me. Really, I got the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 the day that both of these systems were released. So I've played PlayStation throughout my life. Obviously, when the PS1 and PS2 were out, Xbox 360 was nowhere. And really, the original Xbox, I don't believe was out until after the PlayStation 2 was. And, you know, I've just played PlayStation throughout my life. And, you know, when it came down to the time for me to decide whether to get a PS3 or an Xbox, I just, you know, there's a lot of different things that I like better about the PS3. And it's not the fact that, you know, it's just the better system outright, but it's just because that's what I've played throughout my entire life. That's what I grew up on, and, you know, I really didn't want to change that. I'm a huge PlayStation fan. You know, I don't get caught up in the console wars, but I definitely consider myself a PS3 fanboy. You know, I can sit there, and if there is a console war going on, don't worry, I will get involved. Yes, sir. But, yeah, I mean, that's it. You know, I grew up playing PlayStation. Eventually, I'm going to get a 360. You know, not too long ago, it came to the point where I was going to get one, but I decided to get a new laptop instead. So I passed on the 360, but, you know, I got the new laptop, got the new PS3. So the Xbox will probably be the next investment that I put my money towards. But anyways, guys, that's all the questions for this week. You know, like I said, there's no limit to how many questions you can send me or whatever. There's no limit to how many people's questions I will answer. I will try to get everybody in every episode. All you got to do is send me a private message titled Subscriber Sunday, and then your questions will be answered on the following episode. So until next time, guys, it's your boy Sven D, and I'm out.